the NBA did them right. They got it right. They've got it all right with this bubble, but they did the Portland Trailblazers in particular right. They gave them the opportunity to get within 4 games of the Memphis Grizzlies, which they did, and then some. They surpassed the Memphis Grizzlies, mostly on the back of of Damian Lillard, who averaged 38 or 39 points over the 8 games. I mean, the last 4 or 5, he's averaged almost 50 points a game. But they jumped over the Memphis Grizzlies. They are the 8th seed. They only have to win one more, and they go forward. But with Lillard and C.J. McCollum, Carmelo Anthony's playing as good as he has been, this team has a chance, not a real chance, but it does have a chance against the Los Angeles Lakers. And that's why I want to see them rather than Ja Morant. I mean, Ja Morant would be fun and be exciting, but they're going to get waxed. I mean, that's going to be a sweep. The Portland Trailblazers, on the other hand, they're not going to win the series unless things go really awry with LeBron and the AD duo. Yes, we've seen AD be inconsistent in the bubble, whether he's, one game he's scoring 40, the next game he's scoring 14 on 2 of 11 shooting. LeBron James was ice cold for most of his minutes in this bubble, but we know that he's LeBron James, and when he decides to flip that switch, it's going to happen. And history has told us that's going to happen. Every year he's been healthy over the last decade, basically, he's been in the NBA Finals. So we know LeBron's going to be on. But what kind of challenge are the Portland Trailblazers going to give them? That's what's interesting to me. It's interesting to me because we've seen Dame take his game. Damian Lillard. We've seen him take his game to a completely different level, I'm shooting from the logo in the middle of the court and knocking down three-pointer level. It's all, you can't defend a guy like that. This is what Steph Curry was doing a couple of years ago when the Golden State Warriors were in the middle of their dynasty. But it was different with the Golden State Warriors. With the Golden State Warriors, some nights it would be Steph. But other nights it would be Clay. I mean, when KD got there, it was mostly KD. But before that, it was Draymond Green. It was ball movement. It was beauty in motion when you watched it. The Portland Trailblazers aren't that. The Portland Trailblazers are, if we're off just a little bit, get out of the way, and we are going to get the ball to Dame, and he's going to find a way to make things happen. And we've seen it. We've seen it all throughout the bubble. Maybe it was a great thing for them to be isolated down in Orlando, away from everybody else, and just in the bubble, because he's so locked in that he clearly was the MVP of the seeding bubble, the seeding part of the bubble. Does that carry over into the postseason? Especially the Lakers, who are compromised in a sense. They had to pull J.R. Smith off the street, and obviously Avery Bradley opted out. Rajon Rondo, 2 key pieces. They're out now. Rondo may come back, but Avery Bradley, their best perimeter defender, he's not around. So who you putting on Damian? Is it LeBron? You're going to try to defend him with length with Kyle Kuzma? Like, what are you doing with Damian Lillard? That's the question that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to have to answer. Maybe it's J.R. Smith. Maybe he finds a way to slow him down. But nobody in the bubble has been able to slow down Damian Lillard right now. So, yeah, the Lakers may win, but I'm not saying this is a pushover matchup at all. Because we're not even talking about the other pieces. C.J. McCollum, who's also been a little bit up and down in the bubble, but he's also still young. What happens? Not really young, but he's 28 years old. But we know he's second chair, so to speak, to Damian Lillard. What happens if he has a day? Of course, he could have a day. What happens if Carmelo Anthony, who scored 26 the other night? I don't know what he scored last night, but what if he scored 26 the other night when everybody else was off, and it was basically just Dame and Carmelo doing their thing? Between the two of them, they scored 87 points. 2 guys scoring 87 points. Now, not that they're going to do that against the Lakers, but at least it's interesting. That's not happening with the Memphis Grizzlies, but it will happen with the Portland Trailblazers. This series, if it comes to that, obviously the Portland Trailblazers have to get through the play-in series, which is win either Saturday, and if need be, if they lose, then win Sunday to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. That matchup is going to be fun because of all the things that I just talked about, but also because Damian Lillard has a chip on his shoulder. I've never thought about him as a chip guy. Like, you look at Jimmy Butler, you look at some of these other guys, Draymond Green, you can name them. Even Joel Embiid, they have like these chips on their shoulder. They just play. Not Carmelo. Kyrie Irving has this chip. It's like this chip that's on his shoulder that I'm angry and mad and pissed off at the world for no reason. I never looked at Damian Lillard as a chip guy. Well, Damian Lillard is a chip guy, and we talked about it earlier this week when his old coach Earl Watson basically said people wanted him to go join a super team. He said, I'm going to be loyal and stay here, and I'm going to go beat those super teams. Right? That's a chip. And now that it's out there, it makes Damian Lillard so much more interesting to watch. Yes, it's a 1-8 matchup. Usually there's no interest from anybody in these 1-8 matchups. And if it's the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm likely not to have a lot of interest in that 1-8 matchup. But the 1-8 matchup between the superstar-led Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, versus Damian Lillard, and in age, but are very effective in this new role that he's found, this new acceptance that he's found, Carmelo Anthony and C.J. McCollum, that's an interesting 1-8 matchup. That's one that I will tune into, and I think that's the one that the NBA, hope that they get. Maybe it'll be fun for John Morant if they get through the Portland Trail Blazers. But what we really want to see, we want to see Dame exercise some demons, beat the mighty Lakers. It's probably not going to happen, but it is damn interesting to talk about.